Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. This is Nana Space and you're currently watching a review of New Amsterdam Season 4 Episode 9. Once again, thank you to all who have subscribed, liked, commented, shared. I couldn't care for certain parts of this episode, but I was excited for a good portion of it, and let's get into it. So the case of today was a Klebsiella outbreak. I really couldn't care for the storyline very much, but what was important was the fact that they highlighted the importance of antibiotic stewardship, because we tend to use antibiotics willingly and then you find out that there's a superbug that grows out of it. So the more you use a particular antibiotic for a particular bacteria, the more the bacteria develop resistance, and next time it will mutate to a form which will no longer respond to conventional or empirical antibiotics, which means that people will die from the disease because it's no longer working. So this particular outbreak killed 9 people to start with. So we begin with Helen and Max getting in the taxi, and Max was like, oh, I forgot to give my bleep. As always, just like how he forgot to take his ring off. I forgot to give my bleep. Another stolen tactic. And then the bleep kept going off. It kept going off, and then he went in and there were like 9 people are literally code 9, like they are dying. They eventually died of this Klebsiella outbreak. And Walsh, who I feel so bad for, made himself a cup of coffee, and apparently his coffee is always hot, so he liked to put some ice in it. Long story short, they went round trying to find the source of this bacteria. So Helen was in charge of looking for the source of the bacteria, while Max got in charge for trying to get treatment for those who have been infected. So they found out that Walsh's ice was the key, because immediately I saw him staring, I was like, this is just odd. Anyway, they found out the bug was from the ice machine. So anyone who had anything to do with the ice, whether they used the ice to cool you down or ice chip or whatever, anyone who was in touch with the ice basically got the superbug, which can be treated. And Walsh got ill, and that's how they found out this, way of treating him. So it was a very good teamwork. It was literally the chaos waiting to happen, the perfect storm. So they found that, and Reynolds was like, you better tell Helen that you're not coming, because he couldn't go. It was his last day. He was trying to give gifts to Sandra from Billings, Floyd. He gave Vivian Thomas. If you've not seen Vivian Thomas, watch the movie. I think Their Eyes Were Looking on God is what it's called. It's about this African-American doctor who pioneered heart surgery for treatment of babies who had gone blue from heart conditions. You should find that movie and watch it, really good. So apparently the stethoscope that he used, Max got it for Reynolds. And Reynolds was like, the best gift we really like is for you to stay. That's not happening. And then we'll move on to Iggy. Now, one of Iggy's patients somehow got in touch. I think it was the ice which killed him as well, the superbug. 17-year-old died. Parents were in denial. Like, they'd been pranked so many times by their son that they could not believe that he was dead, until Iggy took him to the mortuary. And the punch the dad gave, I was like, you know what? You don't deserve this punch today, but you deserve the punch for other things you've done in the past that no one could punch you for. So good on that. But they had to come to terms with the fact that they've lost their son, and that was quite difficult to watch. The mother breaking down, the father breaking down, and Iggy just stuck in the middle. And before we go to this couple, Iggy was interviewing someone for a post. I'm not sure whether it's for the chief nurse, for a post. This guy, very good looking, came on very hard and strong, trying to come and hit on this new employer. I don't know who does that. But what bothered me was the fact that Mark had told Iggy, do not employ this guy if he is that way inclined towards you. You shouldn't employ him, because that's going to conflict of interest. if you're attracted to someone and you know that that's the premise for the job, you shouldn't take them in, because if the inevitable might happen. Well, guess who? Classic Iggy, poor choices. Last minute went and called this guy and was like, hey, can you start Monday? Again, didn't tell Mark any of this. You're going to see how this downfall goes down. That's Iggy's storyline. And finally, Layla confronted Lauren about how much he bought her for. What was her worth? $90,000. That's a lot of money, but this is intrinsic value human life. And you reduced her to $90,000. Like, you pimped her. Literally, you were a pimp. Pretty much. You know, you peddled her goods to the highest bidder and you paid down for them to take her on. And she wasn't happy. Understandable. She wasn't happy. So, Lauren got upset. Layla got upset. Layla walked off. Lauren was just standing there like, I'm like, lady, you should have seen this coming. You should have seen this coming, mate. Okay, that's perfect. The meat and potato for me today. Lynn, okay? Lynn is pregnant. I have been waiting for this news for so long. So he's trying to avoid Reynolds, claiming, oh, you know, I don't want to do complicated. It's a bit complicated. Nah, 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 nah. And then Reynolds was like, you know what? I kind of like complicated. And then she was like, oh, I'm glad you like complicated because I'm pregnant. Oh. Now that got me thinking. The last time it was a 3-in-1 meeting discussing where things are. This time it's just Reynolds and Lynn. I'm wondering where Dr. Baptiste is. Is he aware that Lynn is pregnant? Is Lynn 100% sure that it's Reynolds? And if she is 100% sure, could this perhaps mean that all along Dr. Baptiste perhaps couldn't have children with Lynn? Because it did not crossed my mind until she said she was pregnant and Dr. Baptiste was not there. So all the scheduling, Mondays, Tuesdays, Wednesday, I mean, kudos to her for working out who got her pregnant. That's by the fact that she was doing the two of them. Also, I would have thought that you being a gynae head, like, you know how to prevent pregnancies unless you're pro-choice. But, yeah, that one, no, I thought they wouldn't go there. But it is hilarious that they've gone there. Really is hilarious that they've gone there. So are they going to be tossing the child between both men? Like, you know, you see him on Mondays and then you see him on Tuesdays, and would we be doing a paternity test? Like, that news, that was the most hilarious news I was waiting for. Floyd, when you play with fire, you get bent. Okay, dude. When you play with fire, you get bent. And that's what happened here. And I heard the news, I thought, ooh, mate. Yikes. Lauren is going to have a good laugh. This is going to be interesting. Talk about complicated. So towards the end, we see Helen in a taxi and she's waiting for Max. And Max is literally staring at New Amsterdam like, am I actually leaving? And you could see, Freema's a brilliant actress. You could see the change of emotions on her face, like, oh my God, is he changing his mind? Is he actually coming? But the words that came out of her mouth were literally parallel to all previous, or anyone who's a good damn fan will know what the comment burden me means. And this time round, he didn't use his words. He backed that question up with actions. He went and kissed her and they got in the car heading to JFK. So now I've seen this parallel video where the very episode 1, Helen was fleeing New Amsterdam in a taxi, not in a taxi, I think it was a New Amsterdam's limo. And she had told the driver to take him to JFK and the driver brought her back to New Amsterdam. And then the Mark was like, come back for 8 hours or don't come back at all. fast forward, season 4, Max is the one who's saying, take us to JFK. I'm like, oh man, the parallel. This is really good. This is really, really good. Now, we are on hiatus for the next 5 weeks. I was a little underwhelmed by this finale, but I saw the promos for next episode 10 and I was like, okay, I can live with this. I can live with this. If this is what we're getting, I can live with this. So I'm gonna end this one here. I want to know what kind of conversation they had with grandparents and what the grandparents know about this move. We didn't hear anything about that. They quickly mentioned about Luna being with someone. I don't know who this person is. It was such a quick sentence, you wouldn't have caught it. But the day they were moving, Luna was with someone. I'm not sure who. I hope they talk about that bit. They can't be brushing things over. I'm not going to get into any spoilers with the trailer. I'm going to do another video talking about briefly video about the trailer. And I'll put a trailer at the end or the beginning of that video. And let's get the conversation going. Once again, thank you for liking, sharing, subscribing, commenting. Welcome to all who have never watched New Amsterdam. It's the first time they are watching. I will probably be reviewing a show on YouTube called The Men's Club, the Nigerian series. So to all my international fans, you can join along and watch. Maybe you might learn something about Africa looking at that show. Until then, I will see you, I guess, on the 4th of January. I might drop some videos in the middle, but a review of an episode, likely 4th of January, is where it's at. So happy holidays to all of you. Happy Thanksgiving, happy Christmas, happy New Year, and to see you in the next one. Bye.